Let's solve Only Murders in the Building. Thank you, episode. Listeners, we broke our number of likes and number of comments ever on one single YouTube video. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it so much. Arconiacs, you are the best. As thanks, I thought we'd put out a special episode, a secret midweek episode about our final episode theory. What's going to happen in episode 10? I don't get any screeners, I have no prior knowledge, but this is an educated guess based on shots from the trailers and from one YouTube video of the team filming a scene on location in New York City. Now, none of the trailer shots nor this YouTube scene in New York City reveal who killed Tim Kono, why, anything, but they do help us paint a picture of what this final episode's going to be. So this is our theory, and we may be completely wrong, and we should be mocked all next week. We're good for it. On the flip side, we may have this completely correct. And so on the chance that this is the correct rundown of how episode 10 is going to go, and you don't like spoilers, don't watch this video until after you've seen episode 10 of Only Murders in the Building Season 1. Before we get to our episode 10 theory, let's talk about some questions that have come up in the comments. SKSSVT wrote, I don't understand why one murderer would poison and shoot Tim. I could see it as a crime of passion, and a poisoning is premeditated crime. So that's a question people have. A lot of people in the comments are also saying, is this an Orient Express type of murder situation? Now, spoilers for Agatha Christie's classic Murder on the Orient Express. In that case, there was more than one person trying to kill the lead character. And so people are wondering if there was one poisoner and one shooter. So far on our channel, we've been going with the one killer theory. And in this one killer theory, let's think like the killer. I'm the killer. I hate Tim Kono. He broke my heart. Or he lost me money. Or he allowed my true love Oscar to rot in jail for 10 years. Whatever my reasons as a killer are, I want to kill Tim Kono. Now, shooting Tim and making it look like a suicide, that's actually kind of tricky and difficult, if he's still alive and conscious, right? I'd have to get my hand on Tim's gun so it really looks like a suicide. I'd have to get the gun close up to him without him noticing or fighting back. I'd have to make sure I don't miss the shot. Plus, everyone in the building could hear it and come out and see me leaving the scene of the crime. I could poison Tim easily, though. I could drop this medicine, which I know if you take too much of, it'll kill you. Put that drug in some alcohol where he doesn't notice the taste and leave him for dead. There's a problem with that, though, too. The poison and medicine has a link to me. It's my prescription. If the police find this dead body and think it's suicide, they would wonder, well, what was the drug that killed him? Oh, it was this drug. How did Tim Kono get this drug? Oh, this other person has that drug. So maybe the idea is I poison him to knock him out or kill him. It doesn't really matter. But that'll allow me to get easily his gun because he's passed out or dead. And then I can easily make it look like a suicide. Now, there is still the problem of if I fire this gun, people in the building are going to hear it. They're going to come out. They're going to spot me leaving the scene of the crime. I need the building empty. A fire alarm will empty the building. Now, Arconiacs, if there is only one killer, who would come up with such a complex scheme? Maybe somebody who loves Hardy Boy books and SVU episodes about twisty mysteries. Or perhaps it's someone who loves dramatic, big, shocking things, like a killer confession on the pisser. Maybe that same person started a fire in his fireplace, despite the rules not to use your fireplace, which allowed the smoke alarm to go off. Or perhaps it's someone who spent years on a detective show, who's got trash bags with blue pull strings. We got this bit of feedback from Sally, who wrote, am I the only one that noticed Charles has garbage bags with blue handles? You could see them in early episodes when he was throwing away the omelet. I don't know if that implicates Charles as the killer, but I'd love to know your thoughts. Well, Sally, a lot of people have noticed this, and I wonder if you've noticed this. It's a really fun Easter egg from episode 7. Charles has unlocked the door to the Dimas apartment, but Mabel runs in and closes the door behind him. Charles is outside in the hallway when he drops his phone, and then Uma Heller sticks her head out into the hallway. Charles disappears because he doesn't want to be noticed loitering around the Dimas apartment, so he pops around the corner of a hall. But when he pops back into frame, he's holding a trash bag with a blue handle. Did he have a blue-handled trash bag ready, just in case? Or did he dip around the corner and then find it and pick it up as an excuse? Was the trash bag just sitting there and he grabbed it by reflex? Is that what Tim Kono did? Fun questions to consider. Another question, who knows if we'll ever get the answer to, is in episode 2. Young Tim Kono says Mabel's aunt lives in apartment 12A. But this whole time, Bunny lives in apartment 12A, and Mabel's been hanging out in apartment 12E. Okay, now let's get into our assumption about episode 10. I'll tell you the assumption and why I assume it. Let's go. Tim Kono will be the character narrator in episode 10. This is an easy assumption. He narrates a bit in one of the trailers. It's probably him.
Approximately 12 minutes from now, I will be murdered.
There's also a shot in a trailer of Tim getting off an elevator by himself. We're going to see more of Tim's activities on the day he was killed. There was an online promo that showed Oliver and Mabel breaking into an apartment. It's an apartment A. They're in the same clothes that they were wearing at the end of episode 9. So you would assume they're breaking into Jan's apartment. There's also a couple of shots in trailers of Mabel finding a bloody knife in a vent. I think it's safe to assume this is a knife found in Jan's apartment. Now I want to say as an aside, Jan may have stabbed herself and still not be Tim Kono's killer. Look at this note found in the garbage of episode 1. Look at the J there. See how it matches the J in Jan on the note she slipped under Charles's door? Psst. One side tangent about these suicide notes. Look at how the notes have different handwriting. Could we assume that maybe this is some part of therapy? That Dr. Grover Stanley makes his patients write out what they're feeling on pieces of paper? Dr. Stanley is on the 6th floor. Is that what Tim was collecting? If I'm right on all this stuff, I really do want to play myself in season 2, producers. My next idea for what happens in episode 10 is a complete guess. I think in Jan's apartment, Oliver's going to find the infamous green ring which Zoe wore. Another guess I have, there's going to be a lot of things coming to light that imply Jan and Tim were in a relationship, and Jan was that screaming lady Miss Idoko heard late at night. Now we're going to get to a scene that you can find on YouTube of them filming. It's a scene of Charles laying down on a stretcher and being loaded into an ambulance as Oliver and Mabel rush to view him. And then, after Charles is in the ambulance, they go up to Bunny. It's tough to hear anything, but I'm pretty sure you can hear Oliver say to Bunny, "Are you ready to welcome us back as Arconia residents?" Bunny stops off and says, "You guys are morons." So why did Charles end up in an ambulance? I'm going to assume that Jan, who didn't want him to come to her recital, who maybe sees that his friends, his podcast buddies have broken into her apartment, I think Jan's going to attack Charles. And that's how he ends up in that ambulance. Now, the next thing that happens has to be Jan coming off the board somehow. What do I mean by that? Either Jan has to get arrested for Tim Kono's murder, or she has to disappear into the night. It has to seem like, okay, the Tim Kono case is closed. Why is that? Because in these trailers, there's a shot of Charles, Mabel, and Oliver on the roof of the Arconia at night, having a toast of champagne. You would assume this is a toast of celebrating the last recording of the podcast and the capture of the killer of Tim Kono. And what's that on Mabel's finger? Hold the phone. Is that ring green? Something's going to have to happen to call Mabel away. Either she has a date with Oscar, or she gets a call from her mother. Something's going to happen. She leaves the roof based on another shot from the trailer. Now, while that's going on, let's have some more guesses. You assume if the last episode of the podcast is out, that the superfan Arconiacs have listened to it. Do they maybe wonder if Jan is actually the killer? Detective Williams probably listens to that last episode of the podcast with her partner as well. Does she have some sneaking suspicions that the case isn't done yet? Now I think Jan has to come back on the board. Either she's released from prison, makes bail, released for lack of evidence, whatever, she's got to come back into the mix. Somebody has to alert Oliver and Charles, hey, get out of the building now. This is part of the flash forward and the trailer.
Get out of the building now! Exclamation point. Exclamation point.
Detective Williams will send the police squad in. Hey, get to the building, get to the building. Charles and Oliver are going to rush down the stairs. They're going to burst in. And what are they going to see? They are going to see Mabel hovering over the body of a dead person. Okay, we know that's generally how the episode will go, but who is that dead person? Is it Jan and Mabel stabbed her in self-defense? Is it Oscar? Is it the Arconiacs superfan and Mabel stabbed them in self-defense? Or, as we've always wondered, did Mabel stab them to cover up her crime? And say it's not what it looks like, because that's what you would say when your two friends burst in and you're hovered over a body. Everybody says, well, what about season 2? What about season 2? What about season 2? Number one, I'd make it Mabel as the killer, so it'd be a real shocking ending. I've got to have my show stand out among the hundreds and thousands of international shows and national shows and every show out there that anybody can get invested in. Mabel being the killer would be a great shock for that. Also, I wonder if the show hasn't planted the seeds for another young character to join up with the two older members in season 2 and form a new trio, Charles, Oliver, and maybe Lucy as the new young member of the podcast. That's my thought what season 2 could be. Hey, I hope this is wrong. I hope they surprise me. I hope you guys are mocking me next week. But that's my guess. What's your theory? Let's hear it. Remember, you can yell at us at DoublePHQ on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook.com/DoublePHQ. Leave your comments on YouTube, like that video. Dear Lord, YouTube forces all creators to say, hit the like button, leave comments. So I apologize for repeating it so often, but what can you do? We're all Arconiacs. We want to know what each other think. In a couple days, we'll know the answer to who killed Tim Kono. So excited, can't wait.